Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Arrow. This is their number X71CR UCX81 in 26D. This is a flex core, small format, interchangeable core. This is an uncombinated core only. That's what this looks like. This is in the 81 keyway. This is going to include the pin and the disc for installing it onto the back of the cylinder, individually capped. Obviously going to follow best A2, A3, A4 biddings. Control lug is extended there. 7-pin. Available obviously in a 606 and a 626 finish. And uncombinated is what that means. You're going to have your pin for going down into the hole that may be included in your key blanks. They don't have to be. The same client ordered some CH81 blanks, and the CH81, it's an 81 keyway, but it's the blank specifically without the hole drilled down into the center of the root of the key. Okay. Now, not too terribly much to say about this in the sense of, it's a small format interchangeable core, and it is uncombinated. Discussing how to combinate these cores would be a very different conversation, which I could assist with, certainly. Arrow, 81 keyway and a variety of different keyways as well. Now there is a link below this video to cut sheet, product catalog, and instructions. So let's switch to the screen view and take a closer look. Okay, so here's the item that we are looking at. Not much to see here, but by the time you see it, there'll probably be some photos uploaded. There are links below this video, and the first is to the installation instructions. Not a lot to see here in the sense of installing a flex core into the housing or the lock that you're installing it into. Rim deadbolt padlock applications, remove and reinstall. So pretty simple. If you're going into a mortise cylinder, they reference the IC231 cam assembly tool. And the IC231, yeah, I don't, I thought I had a photograph of it. I don't. Well, it's basically a tool that will allow you to align your tailpiece. I don't see a photograph of it anywhere. Boy, I'm shocked I don't have one. So, that will allow you to align that and get that installed, reinstall the core. What's helpful is a list of tail pieces and their part numbers that will potentially apply to Arrow locks, so that you've got the right tail piece. That shows that pin for those models that include that, and that retaining disc that holds it in. You basically put the pin into this keyhole slot, then you snap this disc onto the back of the assembled core. There's then a link to the cut sheet. PointeFlex system is a new concept in interchangeable core key control. New concept in the sense that this document is several years old. Employs a unique core feature and patented key design. The unique feature is this pin, which is going to render insertion of any other key useless, and that you need the proper drilled key for that. Only the patented PointeFlex key can operate PointeFlex cylinders, provided that you have that pin installed. All the keyways are indeed restricted. Shows what the overall core looks like. You don't disassemble them at all. This is just an exploded drawing showing that. And this is where X71CR comes in, -UC, and then the keyway comes after that, and we're doing an 81. Your key blanks, in this case, would either be a CH or a CHX. the client, you know, receive the core that will have the pin, but you can run pin and no pin compatible blanks through there. So CHX with the hole in the blank and CH without, and then it's the keyway after that. Obviously very effective. Not only are access to the blanks restricted, but you know, you've got a physical barrier that prevents all but the correct milled key and drilled key from entering. So it has to be drilled and milled, etc. So there you go. There's also a link below this video to the manufacturer's page, which was right here. And when we fire that up, there's the choice catalog section. This will tell us more about this product line. In particular, what's important to bring to your attention is if we search for CH, let's see what we were looking for. Yeah, UCX was the term I was looking for. UCX is in our part number. UCX, and then 81 after that. Uncombinated, UC for uncombinated, and then your keyway. This client's doing an 81 keyway. So very handy. 81's a restricted blank, so they're not going to publish what those look like. Although they do indicate what those range of keyways are. So CH by keyway without hole. That's what this client ordered. This document's handy because it will give you substantially more information than this video is providing when it comes into different technologies of these cylinders in terms of them revolving around the world of high security. A sidebar design. This is going to be a spring biased plug or pin that's going to require that milled preparation in the side of the key blank. Without that proper milled milling in the key blank and it being in the correct location, you've got another barrier to a non-high security version of it working. So the choice plus. Tailpiece, and then tools. Oh. I was hoping our 231 would be here. There it is. There it is. IC231. Mortise cylinder housing assembly tool. So handy way to be able to allow you to get cylinders put together. The other tool is the IC230. That's the that allows you to install the cylinder and also test the function. You will install it on this side and test the function on this side. So handy, a very handy tool. Okay. Capping block, pardon me, capping press is here. That's a capping block. Really handy when you're doing individually capped cylinders. Okay, let's wrap up this video on camera. In conclusion, a very nice quality product from Arrow. What's really nice quality about Arrow is under the umbrella of ASSA ABLOY. Under that umbrella are several and many absolute industry leaders when it comes to high security cylinders. So the big one in, of course, North America would be Medico. Medico is Arrow's sister company. And I know that there's an absolute dovetailing of resources between the two. I've called Arrow's key department for technical support, and I believe I've been talking to Medico. I know that I've spoken to Medico personnel there, and the point of that is when you're dealing with these folks at Medico and obviously Arrow, you're dealing with some of the most helpful, genuinely helpful people available within the industry. If they are permitted to provide you the answer, they will answer the question. And what I mean by that is if you're asking a question on a restricted product, they're not going to be forthcoming, nor okay? But absolute invested in your success. And that really bleeds over into the Arrow product line. I did need to make a couple of calls about these cylinders at one time and was very happy to have someone walk me through the process. Also underneath that umbrella is Aero and Medico, but it's also ASA. ASA is a sidebar technology, not unlike the Schlage Primus. They also have Abloy. Abloy is a highly unusual cylinder that is absolutely bump-proof, that works on a series of discs and wafers or washers. And there are no springs. What I'm driving at, the way I've heard it said, is that the key for an Abloy cylinder cannot be duplicated on a 3D printer. It is a highly unusual key. If you've ever seen German car ignition, I think Jaguar had the type of key maybe in the 1990s, where it's basically a key that would be probably started out square in shape, but then there are a series of, I think, 14 cuts that are at a variety of different angles all the way down the key. And those different angles relate to those discs that are inside and the preparation inside of the disc, so that if the geometries are correct and you turn that key, those discs will line up so that the bar, I forget the term that they use, that Abloy uses, the bar will be able to seat into the gate that has been created in the top of those discs. So highly secure cylinder. And then, of course, being ASA Abloy, a European company, there would be several and many types that I'm just not very familiar with. Also under ASA Abloy would be Sargent, Corbin Russwin, Yale as well. All of those folks have high security platforms. But back to the Aero, really nice technical support, and I appreciate that. The pursuit of knowledge over high security cylinders is one that you must be dogged in, and it's really nice to work with someone like, I say Medico, I mean Aero, but it's the same in that regard. A quick aside, and I've told this story before, I was at an Aloha convention in 2019, and I was sitting in a high security cylinder class. The teacher's name is William Link, CML, and I at the time was writing an article about Corbin's master ring, a technology from about 1889, and I had asked the instructor, Mr. Link, if he would review part of my article, in particular my KBA. And earlier in the day, a couple of gentlemen just walked in and said hi, and the instructor said hi, and they just sat down and sat there for a while. So at break, I asked the instructor if he would take a look. He says, "Well, you don't want me to look at that paperwork." And I'm like, "Oh, no, I really do. I mean, I don't want to put my foot in my mouth with this article that I want to have published." He then says, you want to have that fellow look at your paperwork. And he pointed to a gentleman who was sitting there, one of the two, one of them had left. So at lunchtime, I went over and asked the gentleman if he would take a look at my KBA, and he said, "Yeah, sure, absolutely." I opened up my laptop, and we sat there for about 20 minutes, chatting in general, and I was blabbing on about my love for the high caliber of personnel at Medico. I don't know who the gentleman was, except that he was somebody obviously related in the world of locksmithing or Aloha. And a very beneficial 20 minutes. The gentleman looked at my stuff, says, "Yeah, I see what you're doing there. Sure, I don't see any problems with that at all," and etc. And we chatted on in general about stuff. Well, it became known to me 6 months later or so that the gentleman I was sitting with, his name is Peter Field. As later, about 2 months later, as I was researching some aspect of high security cylinders, I came across the Medico M3 patent. And if you look at the Medico M3 patent, there are two names on there, and one of them is Peter Field. So when I say that Medico folks are incredibly helpful, I can't think of a real example that would be beyond that. And I do learn that the Mr. Field has just recently retired from Medico, and the Medico M3 patent comes up in 2021, which is next year from this perspective, and I'm very eager to see what they come up with. Anyway, any questions on the X71CR UCX81 or any other Aero product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.